crossover and the triple EMA in place, this trend is likely to last at least a couple of weeks, maybe even longer. Further illustrate that, we can see here that we got this crossover from Vantage Point to the downside. This took place at the beginning of February. We then retraced back up. It tried to break over. Vantage Point refused to put that buy signal out on US Canada. We subsequently then crashed all the way from the 105 area all the way down to 99.50. So we're talking almost 600 pips on that sell right there. Now this crossover, and the main thing I'm illustrating is when the triple EMA crossover makes its move, this is a confirming indicator that you don't have to worry about the intraday volatility and the intraday foolishness. You're pretty much set that you can sit comfortably in a position, and then as it moves lower, you can actually add more. So in this particular case on US CAD for today, well, I've got a couple of positions in there. I'm not at all against adding further positions on a slight pullback. So if I can get a pullback towards I was hoping to get a pullback today towards the 102 area. We didn't quite get that. We got towards the, let's see, where are we? US Canada here. 102.22, we got down to that. That's pretty good. And then look at what's happened here. We've shot all the way up to where we are now at the 103 level. Now, again, getting back to short, medium, and long-term trading, what it's good to do here, guys, is make sure that, again, what I can't stress enough, that we want to look at the entire picture and not just trade off of one thing. And I'm not zeroing in just on the short-term crossover. I'm looking at the short, the medium, and the long-term. Now, looking at the Euro US, this is an excellent example. Now, just for the sake of cleaning this up a bit so everybody can see it, I want to put the short-term crossover here. I'm going to take our strength indicator off just so everybody can see this and how a short-term indicator can be potentially very dangerous. Now, looking at this right here, we've got the short-term crossover, we've got the angled up here, huge green arrow here. This was just last week on Friday, guys. Euro US had a decent close at the 133 level. The short-term crossover took place here. If we were to use that short-term crossover and get into a buy position, we can see exactly what happened. We're now at 129. It would have been an absolute disaster. So again, the short-term crossover is something to be very, very cautious of. Now, looking at this, now we've applied the short-term crossover. I've illustrated that, and at times this can be a very good tool, but we have to look at the bigger picture. Now, looking at the bigger picture by putting on the a longer-term indicator, applying that, specifically the triple EMA, we can see that this candlestick came all the way up, but look what's sitting here. The 18-day predicted moving average. The market hit that 18-day predicted moving average and has now subsequently crashed all the way down into the 128 level. So using the short-term crossover to the upside, getting into a buy position would have been an absolute disaster. And that's what I'm cautioning everybody about here. We want to look at sticking with the overall picture. So any move higher on Euro US absolutely represented a great selling opportunity. And this is evidenced right here by this candlestick coming up, hitting the 18-day predicted moving average, and then crashing all the way down. So trust me, we want to follow smart money. Smart money right now is selling Euro US. They've been selling Euro US ever since I put that sell signal out. You know what, if we're going to go back here for a second and look at this, guys, I've been putting out a sell signal on Euro US for probably close to 5 or 6 months now. Look at this back in November when I originally talked about the US dollar index turning, again using the short, medium, long-term crossovers plus the triple EMA from Vantage Point. Euro US at the 150 level hit this triple EMA crossover, and this chart is very clear what Vantage Point has suggested should be done with Euro US over the last 5 to 6 months. Basically since November, the middle of November, I put out the original sell signal. We're now sitting at 128. So we've moved some 2,800 pips. So again, if you were in the market, the Forex market, and you traded nothing else, and you put a couple of positions in there on the Euro US currency pair back in November, this is pretty amazing what would have happened. Now again, this screen that I'm using only uses the predicted moving averages. There's no standard moving averages in here. These predicted moving averages, The only place I could find them was on Vantage Point software years ago. I looked at them. I've been using them ever since. Now, I've probably been using this program and different variations of this program for probably about 7 years now. So I'm, I'm pretty much sold on how this thing is producing. But I'm also, there's lots of people out there have different ways of using the program. I have my own way of doing something, and that's based on years of trading. And again, I always look at multiple time frames using the program, not just one time frame, because again, very possible to get into these types of whipsaws. So looking at the U.S., going back to the U.S. Canada, yesterday when I entered into those trades, based on that turning point on the triple EMA crossover, I was confident. That gave me the confidence I needed to go ahead and enter into that position, the buy position, even though I was sitting at an absolute top of the monthly range, 101.90, 101.87. That had contained the market on U.S. Canada for some 3, 4, 5 months, and had been aggressively moving lower. But when that triple EMA made its cross, that told me, okay, it's time for me to forget about the sell positions and start getting into long positions. And even with my own clients, I'll be perfectly honest, I took a lot of heat for putting out those buy positions on the US CAD pair. But in the end, I guess hopefully everybody's happy and nobody got stopped out by going, against the program. Now, over the years, I'm a pretty stubborn guy, I have to tell you, and I've gone against this program more than once. And it didn't really work out too well for me. So I've learned to just, even though my bias may be something else, I have to do what the program. The program is a discretionary program. It works for me very similar to a financial analyst, my own financial analyst, where it's doing the correlations to the other markets, it's doing all these things. It's taking into consideration multiple markets, but at the same time, it's completely discretionary, and it's a thinking machine where it just doesn't have any biases. I have bias towards the euro. I have a bias towards, maybe gold contracts. The program doesn't. It simply does the analysis. So that's why I like it and use it in most of my trading. Now, again, looking at some of the other things today we've talked about in the Forex market, we've looked at the British pound US dollar. I talked about that one extensively in the Forex market outlook for the week on Sunday. That, again, looking at this from a longer term view, medium to longer term view, even though we were starting to get, again, buy signals on pound dollar, to demonstrate that again, we're going to go into the short-term crossover. We're going to see here that we're again getting this buy signal on the short-term crossover, but the medium-term and the longer-term crossover from Vantage Point, we're saying that the pound dollar is going to continue to move lower. So if you're looking at multiple crossovers and you're looking at the triple EMA crossovers, one of the questions I had that a gentleman from England this week gave me from about the program. I think he's recently purchased the program, or he's thinking about purchasing the program, and he asked, one of the questions I really enjoyed from him was, if you don't get the price you want, do you leave a ticket in and wait for it to come back to that price? And my answer to that was, well, you don't actually have to do that, because every single day I'm updating this program around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At that time, I can get a new entry point, I get new predicted highs, new predicted lows, and so I don't have to sit there and wait for that one price. If I miss it today, I can guarantee you I won't miss it tomorrow, because I'll be able to do the analysis will be done for me again. I can go back, look at it,